what you need to be doing to your yard in fall. Managing grass, you're doing it right. It's a lot like playing chess. You have a move right now, but you're thinking probably 2 moves ahead, and you're also thinking what your opponent's going to be doing. Your opponent, honestly, is Mother Nature. How much rain you're going to get, soil temperatures, what the weather's going to do. You got to base your move on what your opponent potentially could be doing and your next move. You're always thinking 2 or 3 moves ahead, and that's what you have to do when you're managing grass and you're successful at it. So right now, what we're doing in the fall is going to dictate what happens in the spring. And what happens essentially this time next year, we're going to be looking back, and what we did now is going to affect what's going on next year at this time. How good we're going to look coming out of summer. Okay. Now, so what are we going to cover? Fertilization, Poa Annua control. I'm going to touch on that a little bit. I'm going to do a long video on that, hopefully not too long, on Poa Annua control for everybody, both cool and warm season grasses. I'm going to talk briefly about pre-emergent, which is actually going hand in hand with that Poa Annua. Overseeding, which also we're going to talk about pre-emergent and overseeding, soil test, and a little bit of mowing. So let's do this. Let's talk about fertilization. Warm season grass, folks, do not put any nitrogen on your warm season grass 6 weeks prior to dormancy. I start going into dormancy approximately around Halloween. I'm in West Virginia. I'm extreme far north, but excuse me. So I'm going to put my last nitrogen application. I'm pretty thin on nitrogen right now. I'm going to put my last nitrogen application down now. It's going to be about a ½ pound, just a little bit, because I don't like the color right now. I'm a little peaked. Want some green. And then I'm going to go ahead, take a soil test this week, last week in August. Should get those results in a week or so. See my soil test video. Show you how to do that, where to get it, how to do it, what to read the results, the whole 9 yards. So anyway, ½ pound of nitrogen now. And then when I get my soil test back, a few weeks before dormancy, probably about 3 or 4, I'm going to go ahead and put my potassium application based on my soil test. That's going to help me through the winter. Okay, that's going to help that winter hardiness. Now, cool season grasses. If you do nothing else, just cool season grasses. I'm not talking grub control, weed control, fungus, everything. If you only did one thing, just cool season grasses, that one thing should be fall fertilization. That is going to dictate how you come out of winter. Your spring green up. Spring green up is going to lead to healthier turf, thicker turf, less weeds, and better going into the summer. What you do now in September is going to dictate what you're going to look like in June and July. It is that important. That is pretty universal. I'm going to leave my slow release fertilizer video in that playlist that I'm going to refer to at the end. It's going to go over all of these things. But basically what you're wanting to do, cool season grass folks, probably right as soon as you start getting your first frost, put a good pound of nitrogen down. You could probably go 1.25 pounds, a little heavy if you wanted to, providing it's at least 50% slow release fertilizer. You can go up 1.25 pounds and really get a lot of nitrogen in that plant and let it seed over that 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to be about that long from your first frost to really you get cold enough to where it's really not going to be absorbing anything. You want to get the sugars up in the plant. Keep those sugars up. They're going to be available to the plant in the spring, and that's going to help your spring green up a lot. So anyway, warm season grasses, ½ pound of nitrogen, then our potassium based on soil test. Cool season grasses, you want to be at least 1 pound. If you have at least 50% slow release fertilizer, go ahead and go out heavy. Whatever the bag says, go out heavy. You can even go just a little bit heavier. Don't burn anything, but you can go out about 1.25 pounds pretty comfortably on cool season grasses, putting it down to first frost. That takes care of your fertilizer. I'm going to leave links to good fertilizer, both cool season and warm season grasses that I found on Amazon that I think will work well for you. I can deliver it to your house. I base it on price, and I base it on quality, and I base it on what I think you should be doing. So take a look at that. Now, as far as Poa Annua control, for everybody, this is something to think about. And I know warm season grass guys, I see a lot of posts online, everybody fretting over soil temperatures being above 70, and then they're worried about soil temperatures. I'll explain to you very quickly, and this is relevant to both cool season grass guys too. The reason why they don't want you putting out a pre-emergent herbicide when the soil temperature is above 70 is as I've said in my other videos, and as I'll say in the pre-emergent video that I'll leave here in that playlist, for every 10 degrees increase in temperature, it doubles biological activity. Biological activity is what actually degrades pre-emergent herbicides. So if you put it out too early and the soil temperature is above 70, the likelihood of that pre-emergent herbicide lasting you until well in the next spring is going to be slightly diminished. That's why it's 70 degrees. It's not that it's more effective. It's not going to last as long. Okay. I kind of like the Barricade product. Leave the pre-emergent herbicide video in that family playlist. I kind of like the Barricade. It's fairly cheap. It does good winter control. It does good Poa Annua control, because at the end of the day, that's really what you're trying to control the only grassy weeds you really got during the winter, for the most part, Poa Annua, and the rest of them are broadleaf weeds, which the Barricade product does very well on. Okay, there is a new pre-emergent herbicide out called Spectacle Flow. The thing with the Spectacle Flow is, see my pre-emergent video, it is a different group pre-emergent herbicide. In addition, it can control weeds. Its rates on the label, it can control weeds 12 months out of the year. The problem with Spectacle Flow is it costs a small fortune. It comes in a container that a homeowner could probably have, enough to do your yard for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and it's just not all that practical. The big craze about it is, particularly with warm season grasses, and I'm just saying this to kind of save you a little bit of time and at least give you my take on it, because a lot of warm season grass guys are using it, is I think it's too much, and I think the container's too big for homeowners. I just think it is. It's just not practical. The great thing about it is it is a new herbicide, and it is not a group 3 herbicide. I believe it's a group 27 pre-emergent herbicide. The relevance of that is it's a different group herbicide. And as I said in my fungicide video, and as I said in my pre-emergent and post-emergent herbicide video, when you have different groups, for each group is how that particular fungus or herbicide controls or attacks that pest, okay? Rather be a weed or fungus. And since Spectacle Flow is a different group, you have very few weeds that are resistant to Spectacle Flow. That's why it's all the big craze. And it is a great product. I just don't think it's practical for homeowners. From a practical standpoint, now, bringing it back to both cool and warm season grass folks, if you use a pre-emergent herbicide, most pre-emergents and just about all of them for cool season grasses are group 3 herbicides. Warm season grass, there again, you got group 3 and group 27. I believe it's 27. If you are also using a post-emergent herbicide maybe 1 or 2 times during the year, you're not going to have that weed resistance problem, because the pre-emergent and post-emergent are going to be 2 different groups of herbicides, and you're not going to get resistance when you're using 2 different ones. So that's the big thing with Spectacle Flow. Trying to save you warm season grass guys some time. If you want to spend the money, that's great, no problem. I just don't personally think it's all that practical. So, sum up, on cool season grasses, what you're wanting to do as far as, and this is, let me put you guys all together, both warm and cool season grass folks. Your main thing going into winter and coming out in the spring, you need to put down a pre-emergent herbicide to prevent and to primarily Poa Annua during the winter. Okay? Warm season grass folks, cool season grass folks, try to keep everybody straight here. You can go ahead and do your overseeding. I recommend you do that early in September, probably the first couple weeks, unless you're way down south, but pretty much in those first couple to 3 weeks in September. Get the grass in the ground, get it to start growing, maturing. Then about Thanksgiving, all of you, warm season, cool season, don't care, put out your pre-emergent. The reason being is twofold. One, as I said, biological activity doubles, and if you put out your pre-emergent herbicide sometime around Thanksgiving, unless you're probably south of maybe the Georgia, Florida border, or you're out west, you're still hot. Really, if your temperatures are below 60 soil temperatures, go ahead and put out your pre-emergent herbicide. It will last you well into spring. Easy. Because the biological activity is not there because the soil temperature is going down. It's not going to break it down as much. Most of you cool season grass guys, if you put out your pre-emergent in November, I have noticed in dealing with Bermuda grass, and the thing about Bermuda grass is it does go dormant, and I can see the Poa Annua germinating. Do more of this on my Poa Annua prevention video. But if you can go ahead and seed your yard, overseed, do my overseeding video here in a week. I'm going to do my backyard and do this other yard too. Go ahead and do your seeding in September. Everything matures, looking good, good quality grass. Leave my grass seed video in that playlist. Put out your pre-emergent in November, and that will significantly reduce the Poa Annua in your yard. A bunch. Reason being is, going back to what I said about observing things with dormant Bermuda grass, I have noticed the majority of Poa Annua seems to germinate here in West Virginia, and I'm north. I'm close to where you guys are. Most of the Poa Annua that I see germinates in January through about April 1st. So if you get out your pre-emergent herbicide in November, you're going to really reduce the amount of Poa Annua in your yard by doing that. Just my observations on what I've seen when things mature on Bermuda grass, or when that Poa Annua comes out in your Bermuda grass. So anyway, do a little bit more on Poa Annua in another video, but I haven't done it yet, so I wanted to get you guys that in. So go ahead and go with your pre-emergent. Leave my pre-emergent video in that group. In that playlist. Diseases you're going to be dealing with in this fall. I really struggled with on bent grass punting greens, dollar spot well into October, and usually that was when I really got hammered by it, because as I've said in my other videos, after Labor Day, if you can make it to Labor Day, you're golden, pretty much. And I would maybe get lazy or maybe just get worn out and tired from taking care of grass for 8 months and going through the rigors of summer. Do be vigilant and be aware that you can have particularly dollar spot into that October time. You're also looking at brown patch, and what I think during the real wet is during on cool season grasses, you can have yellow patch, which is basically kind of like winter brown patch. Where I had that, I've not seen it so much here in the north, but where I had that was on bent grass putting greens down in the Carolinas, because it would stay wet and it would stay warm enough. So you can have a little bit of brown patch, and you can have dollar spot up to October. Then you're also worrying about yellow patch during the winter, and you're also worrying about snow mold. I'm going to do something more on snow mold, but usually your propicanosol, if you do that application sometime around that November time, both cool and warm season grass folks, cool season grass folks, you're going to help yourself tremendously. Cool season grass folks, you're going to help yourself tremendously not getting dollar spot, not getting snow mold by putting that propicanosol out around November, around Thanksgiving. Warm season grass folks, with that propicanosol application, you're going to help yourself with spring dead spot. So spring dead spot is a fungus that actually attacks your, you actually probably should put that out about October, maybe a little sooner than Thanksgiving. That attacks your plant, your warm season grass. I'm talking zoysia guys, I'm talking Bermuda grass guys in particular. Put out your propicanosol application for spring dead spot in October. That will control that fungus. Leave a spring dead spot video in that group. I'll go more about it then, but if you put it out then, that's going to help that fungus and actually reduce, if not eliminate, your spring dead spot going into spring, or what you find in the spring. So those are the diseases you need to be aware of. Soil tests. There again, I just did a pH video a few weeks ago that's going to be in this playlist. You do need to take your soil test. Have your local university extension, have your local university do the soil test. You'll get them back within a week. That will tell you about your pH, and that will tell you about your potassium applications. And those two are pretty important, particularly with pretty much everybody. But you go ahead and put out your lime applications now in the fall. Those of you who are raising pH, that chemistry can go ahead and there again, my pH video, it's a chemical reaction. All that chemical reaction, provided it doesn't get frozen soil, but as long as you don't get frozen soil, all that chemical reaction will continue and you'll be good to go in the spring and your pH be optimized in the spring. Warm season grass, folks, granted that is a biological reaction. I went over that in my pH video, leave that in that playlist. You can put it out in August. It will feed for a while, but first time, as soon as you come out of spring, do another soil test because you may have to put more sulfur out if your pH is high. Okay. You're not going to get a whole lot of pH adjustment after this, particularly after the ambient temperatures get below consistently in the 50s. You're not going to get a whole lot of work, but because that's a biological reaction to get that sulfuric acid in your soil. So just be aware of that. But do your soil test, do your pH adjustments, find out how much potassium you need. That's what you need to do. Overseeding, like I mentioned, you want to do that sometime in September. Now, as far as weed control, the Tenacity product or the Torcity product, I will leave both down below. It'll be in my overseeding video, but Tenacity and Torcity, I think it's Torcity, is a mesotrone product. What that is, and Scott's actually has a granular perlite you can put out. You can put that out prior to overseeding, and you can seed right into it, and that will control all your fall weeds and actually give you a little bit of pre-emergent reaction. Okay, I'm going to go over this next week when I do I think it's going to be next week, depending on when I get my seed in. I'm going to go over that and do my overseeding video. I'll leave links to these products below. You can get them on Amazon. This is a herbicide, mesotrone, that actually you can put out at seeding. It has post-emergent activity on just about all the weeds you're probably going to encounter going into fall. That is going to clean up your grass, and then you can seed right into it so that new seedlings are not competing with the weeds that you currently have in your yard. Okay, I'll get one more to post-emergent here in a minute. The other product you could use is quinaclorac. The one thing about quinaclorac, drive is the common word for it. You will see quinaclorac, you do not want it used with mixed products, okay? Like 2,4-D, dicamba, and other broadleaf herbicides. The reason why you need to be very careful about your herbicide applications, cool season grass folks that are going into, and you're going to do overseeding, a lot of those broadleaf weed control products, you have to wait anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 to 4 weeks before you can seed into them. So you can use quinaclorac, you can use a mesotrone, and I will leave those product links below, and then you can seed right into those. Kind of like the Tenacity a little bit better because it gives you some post and pre-emergent herbicide action when you're overseeding. So the only thing that should be coming up is the seed you're actually putting on. Really, really good stuff. It's fairly newer technology as far as weed control in your yard. So mowing. What are we going to do with mowing? Warm season grass, folks. I used to mow 419 Bermuda grass down in the Carolinas. And in fact, this year, here I mowed my Bermuda yard at 1.25 inches. I've actually raised it up to 1.5 inches now. I'm going to keep it up to 1.5 inches, probably for the rest of the year. You do want to raise your mowing heights. Warm season grass folks, particularly those of you that are in the transition zone, yes, it does increase. And I can't remember what the percentages is, but there is university studies. And if I find one, I'll put it down there. I'm pretty sure I do. But it does significantly increase it significantly increases winter survivability and spring dead spot. When you increase that, and I've actually had people challenge me, well, it shouldn't make that much difference. Yes, it does. We went from 1/2 to 5/8. Yes, we went up from 1/2 to 5/8, and it actually does increase the winter survival of warm season grasses going into the spring and helps you throughout the winter. As far as cool season grass folks, I do mulch my leaves underneath this maple tree, and I do have the tendency to cut down a little lower, and that does mulch them up pretty good. Both of you, warm and cool season grass folk, you guys, there's nothing wrong with mulching leaves at all. Mulch your leaves really good. Leave them in the soil. They go right in the soil. You're just adding, you got free organic matter when you got leaves. You want to mulch them up real good. You can throw, and that, for you cool season grass folks, you throw a little bit of nitrogen out there. That'll actually help that break down, because the biological activity that munches on the leaves are also encouraged, if you will, by the nitrogen applications. Actually use the nitrogen to break down the organic matter. So anyway, you're getting a little bit of double action there. Warm season grass folks don't put out any nitrogen, but go ahead and mulch your leaves. Don't worry about that. You're just adding organic matter. No sense picking them up, going through the exercise, picking them up. Just be consistent going out. I'll leave a mulching video that I did last year in this group, in this playlist, and you can check that out too. So anyway, as far as I've seen actually some articles, and I've seen some things online. Actually, okay, Scott's, I'll just kind of, and not really call them out, but there is something out there that if you lower your mowing heights with cool season grasses, that it reduces your your snow mold on your grass. I wouldn't do that. I didn't find any studies at all, looked online, that lowering your mowing heights with cool season grasses reduces your potential for snow mold. I would be more inclined to go ahead and maintain your current mowing height that you did during the summer, or maybe raise it a little bit, and just do that propicanosol application. I believe propicanosol application spring, and with the hose end adapter, I think it's a BioAdvance product. It's cheap. I mean, I think I can't remember what I paid for it earlier in the year, but I think it was like $15 to 5,000 square feet. For $30, you can do a good application of propicanosol and probably control your snow mold. And you shouldn't, unless you're like, you're way up there and you have a really wet winter, you might run into something, but I think that should be fine for snow mold. I really do. That should take care of you. So anyway, I keep your mowing heights where it is. Don't cut it any shorter. The theory was that if you lowered it, you would have less snow mold, because I guess the snow mold would have less area to attack the leaf blade. There again, I've not seen any university studies or what they call scholarly articles that is the case. There's a lot of stuff out there that just doesn't make any damn sense. And pardon my language, but anyway, there's a lot of goofy stuff out there that I'd love to know where they're coming from. If somebody has something from university, not some blog or anything else. I don't want to hear anything from some goofball on YouTube talking about grass. But if there's a university study that shows lowering mowing heights helps with any type of winter fungal control, please leave it down there. I'd love to have it. It just I just didn't want you coming across something and going, hey, I should do that. I don't recommend doing it. I'd be more involved with winter kill if it's really that bad of a winter. Or winter. Sometimes you can actually get a freeze-dried effect if you have no winter cover, snow cover, and it gets really nasty cold. It can actually freeze dry the grass. I'd have more problem with that, because if your grass is taller, it'll be insulated a bit more. I'd have more problem with that than I would snow mold. Snow mold, I can do something about. I can put some fungicide out and have that taken care of. There's nothing I can do about lack of winter, cold temperatures, and extreme wind, just drying the deckings out of the leaf blade, and then you got a problem, or the crown, by just killing it. So, going back to, like I said about the chest thing, Mother Nature's our opponent here, and we got to have an idea what they're going to do, or anticipate what they're going to do. It's kind of like what I'm getting at now. So anyway, I'm going to leave that playlist. I'll leave the links to the products that I went over below. That's what you should be doing preparing for fall. My next video is going to be my overseeding video, and I'm going to show you two techniques. One, just fixing spots in your yard that may have either went in the summer dormancy and now you're wanting to get rid of that particular grass. I've got a yard like that, and we're going to replace it with a better grass that's not going to go into summer dormancy as easy. And then I've got another one here in my backyard. I'm going to do a complete redo on my backyard. I'm going to do both of them. just completely redoing it, and then I'll spot treats in an overseeding video. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Anyway, I'm Greg Phillips. If you hit, and if I keep things very current, so if you like and subscribe and you hit that bell, you will get notifications of videos when they come up, and it'll give you a heads up of things you need to do. It's now late August. I'm telling you what you're going to be doing in November. So it'll set you up and give you time to go ahead and get all that organized and ready to go. So anyway, I'm Greg Phillips. Thanks for watching.